So good morning, I'm at the Bayeux War Cemetery. Several thousand guys buried here, as you know. Some of you have been here before. Take you to a particular grave and tell a particular story. All sorts buried here. Czech pilots, Polish pilots, British infantry, British tankers, chaplains, Germans, medal recipients, cooks, craftsmen, just about everybody. This is the grave I'm going to stop you at. Lieutenant Theodore Ionides, Royal Naval Volunteer Reserve. Rusty was his nickname. HMS President was his ship, but not really. 11th of June he died, 1944. Was he on a ship off the shore of Gold Beach? Nope. Sword Beach? Nope. Where was he killed? Just inland from Utah Beach, just the east of Sainte Marie du Mont. What was he doing there? Well, he was part of the special unit created in 1942-43 by Ian Fleming. Yes, Ian Fleming, who wrote the James Bond films, a Royal Naval officer, and had the idea of a specialist unit that could do a particular type of job behind the lines. In this case, it was the 30 Assault Unit, Royal Marines. Their job, amongst other things, was to find German paperwork, gadgetry, technology. And two forces land on D-Day, Wolf Force and Pike Force, on Utah Beach and Gold Beach. And this gentleman here was in the force that landed on Utah Beach, and he was a torpedo expert. He was 44 the year he was killed, born in 1900, and he was there because of a knowledge and working knowledge of torpedoes and gadgetry, and he was part of the force that was heading off to Cherbourg, the big German naval base, where the Royal Marines were hoping to find lots of equipment that had not been seen before and take it apart, take it back to England, investigate it, look at it, radar, sonar, and in this case, Ionides was involved in torpedoes. And I know this story because a few years ago I did a BBC programme, The One Show. Those in the UK will be familiar with it. Justin Rowlett, one of their presenters there, this is his grandfather. And he came over to Normandy to investigate the story, and I was the appointed so-called expert. And he was killed just behind Utah Beach, so just east of Sainte Marie du Mont. What happened is they had just come off the beach that day, D+4, and this is overnight between the 10th and 11th, in fact. It was possibly actually the night of the 10th, but the date of death is recorded as the 11th of June. And they encamped there. They took over 100 guys. There's more coming ashore, and their job, as I say, is to move up to Cherbourg. What happened is one or two German bombers flew over. There weren't very many German aircraft in the air at that time. But this was one of the occasions where there were some, and it dropped, we believe, butterfly bombs. 22 men were wounded in the field, 3 of whom died. In the case of Ionides, the medic had already ran over, pulled his shirt open, and there was all blood pouring out, hit in the chest by shrapnel from one of the bombs, and he was killed instantly. And Justin Rowlett, the grandson, has all the letters and correspondence that Ionides wrote back to his family. He was personally recruited for the unit by, not in fact Ian Fleming himself. Ian Fleming headed up the unit. He was recruited by Admiral John Godfrey, and that name won't mean anything to you probably, but he is the inspiration for the M character in the Bond novels and films. So that's pretty cool. And he was selected because of his knowledge of all this gadgetry. And these 30 Assault Unit guys were trained how to break into safes. They were trained demolitions techniques, things like that, sabotage. With the strict instructions, they had to promise they would not use any of these skills in civilian life upon the end of the war. Things like safe cracking. And 30 Assault Unit had a pretty distinguished war service. They fought all the way through Europe to Germany. In fact, they captured lots of the archives, the German archives from Kriegsmarine headquarters that were used subsequently in the war crimes trials. So the trying of all these German leaders and heads was all largely based on the paperwork 30 AU had got to provide the evidence. So I thought you might like that, and I intend to do more of these over the course of the summer. I was talking to a couple of people this week, and they'll be like this, unscripted. I'm not going to come out here with a list of things and read it all out, so there'll be a bit ers and ums, but I just thought each one I do it, spend a few minutes telling a little story. It might be interesting, and you can share these with your friends and what have you. So that was the first one, or first official one. I played around a couple of days ago, or yesterday, at Falaise Gap with this, but this is my first official one. Well, official, you know what I mean. And this is Paul Woodadge, D-Day Historian. ddayhistorian.com is my website. Feel free to share these if you want to. If you feel anybody you know will be interested. But there you are, many graves here, and every single one has a story. If only you could spend enough time researching every single story there, every single guy, and women, of course, in Normandy. A brave person did something. A lot of these stories we know, many others we don't know. The unknowns, the missings, and medal recipients, and it's just never gets boring walking through these places. You always find a new story. You always see something, a little unit, a date that you question. Look over here, all the Germans. There's Germans still being killed in after VE Day. Not so much in this particular row here, but they're being used to clear mines, things like that. So you go from Germans who are fighting for the wrong side straight across to the other row where you have all the Allies. Let's have a little walk as we go down here, and I'll finish off soon. So Royal Engineers, Seaforth Highlanders, Pioneer Corps, Royal Army Service Corps, Hertfordshire Regiment, King's Shropshire Light Infantry, Army Catering Corps, Royal Army Service Corps again, Royal Scots, East Riding Yeomanry, Royal Armoured Corps, Catering Corps again. And the dates range from June the 6th, June the 7th through to July, August. The Bayeux Cemetery is one of those that was chosen because it was close to lots of hospitals, essentially. Collecting stations, and people were dying in hospitals and were buried here. Some cemeteries sprang up because they ended up being where temporary graves have been put. Ronville is one of those ones. This one was chosen because it was near hospitals. In fact, the ring road around Bayeux was constructed to link up these various hospitals. Then there's a couple unknown. They were sold in the 39-45 war. And a Pole. Not just British. All sorts of nations taking part here. Some, like this one here, a captain, well, medical corps. No epitaph. Maybe he was an orphan. Maybe he had no family. No cross either. Maybe he was an atheist. Who knows? Anyway, that's me signing off. Go and do shopping now. So I hope you enjoyed this. So good morning. I'm at the Bayeux War Cemetery.